Welcome back to the very last episode of Deal Corner with me, George, secondary sales manager, joined by Andrii, our plan manager. How are you?
Good morning. Good to see you, George.
Happy day. Last one of the year, mate.
It is December.
Time flies when you're having fun.
15th of December today.
Yeah, Santa is around the corner. He's going to be coming down the chimney near you.
There's so many going on. The new launches on Rust. It's like, yeah.
It's good. I always, I don't know about you, but as a broker, love this time of year.
It is a good time.
Love this time of year. Like, quality, not quantity. The people you're dealing with, like, they're serious, and also they usually people are traveling around this time, so they almost create the urgency that as a broker you obviously wanted and you obviously needed, and create it yourself. And obviously as a secondary broker for viewings, it's nice, like you're not sweating like crazy.
On the other side, there are a lot of tourists now. I mean, Dubai is doing quite a good job, of expanding the marketing there and attracting all the tourists coming here for New Year's Eve. So Dubai is full of tourists at the moment who's actually buying the property as well because they want to leave some stuff behind them here.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I think even people that aren't at a point of pushed out of their country or relocation, they are at a point of understanding, okay, investment, should it be outside or anything like that. So today, main topic for today is obviously we're going to look back over 2025 and then into 2026. I think one of my biggest takeaways from 2025 was it was always going to be the year that people were going to stop buying off plan. It was always going to be the year of oversupply and tumbleweed going through communities, and that was the narrative coming into the year. That was the narrative. So it'd be interesting to see what you think from an off plan perspective. Did people stop buying off plan this year?
I can tell you, George, they start buying more.
Okay.
And the reason of that, again, off-plan market is different from anywhere in the world. How fast properties are sold here, how fast properties are built and delivered here. Nobody expected a high return. So last year, people said 2025 will be a crash in the market, right? We had 56% of the market sales in our own 24. Today, we're only, 15th of December, the deals are still going on. We're over 200 transactions of the real estate market. Real estate off-plan share, you know how many? 62% for this year. So we've grown 7% compared to last year for off-plan. So why? Once again, Dubai is doing a great job. They're advertising the investments. For example, golden visas, right? We know that some of the areas now are lowering the bracket to 750,000 dirhams. So they're attracting more and more potential investors from overseas. 62% of off-plan. It's crazy.
Have you seen a shift at all? Obviously, we're always talking about the supply and the demand and the equilibrium, all those things. Did you see a shift this year for townhouses and villas?
All right, let me break it out into the details, right? So 2024, we've closed with 520 billion. Where 2025, at the moment, we're already 605 billion. So we're almost 100 billion more, and the year is not finished yet. I will tell you about the new project we have now, new launches. So again, amount of transaction, 175,000 transactions were closed in 2024, where now we're over 205,000 transactions. So the deals are going on. Now demand swifted, it moved a bit. Let's say the demand for apartments now is going lower because people are moving here with families. So they want those bigger properties. They want the townhouses, at least 3 to 4 bedrooms. They want those standalone villas, semi-detached, gated communities, schools. Have you seen how many new schools have been opened in 2025? We're talking about at least 4 to 5 big gem schools. Talking about all the main areas to have the school and a hospital in that because they have families to be. And it just, what's happening in the off-plan today?
It's great to see because it's actually Dubai catering for the growth of infrastructure and influx of individuals rather than just Dubai catering for the hype and the excitement of investors and stuff like that, which I think is really nice. But I think one of the interesting things with the resale market is one thing that I saw was I didn't quite realise, but this year, 78% of resale transactions were made up of apartments. So only 22% of that were townhouses and villas, which again, just shows you the supply and the demand, the equilibrium. But then because of that, villas and townhouses in relation saw a 79% growth in the resale transaction value. So that just shows you how demanded they are and the increase in values that we saw this year, but also still with that split between apartments and townhouses and villas, it still shows you that I don't know, you can look into it either way. It still shows you that there's a huge appetite for investment in the apartments, and maybe a lot of people that have been settled here in Dubai now are just, okay, I'm happy still being a tenant, but let me get an investment. Or whether it says, oh my God, we still need to build a load more villas and townhouses because there's just not enough.
Well, you see, getting back to apartments, the price per square foot is really a key factor here when you invest in properties. What we've seen for the last year in 2025, the price has climbed a lot. You know, we started the year with average price of 1,400 dirhams per square foot.
Yeah.
Where today we're close to 2,000 dirhams per square foot in the key areas. You know, even we're talking about the JVC, right? The most saturated area today. You cannot find anything off plan for less than 1.2, 1.3 million, where you can invest 850 last year. So the prices have really gone up. What do people think today? Hey, for 2 million dirhams, let's say for 2.5 million dirhams, I can afford only a 2-bedroom apartment. Where in the same price, I can afford a 3-bedroom townhouse with a bigger plot, bigger build-up, where I can put 2 of my kids. And of course, I'll be living maybe extra 10 to 15 minutes drive from your work, but you'll be more happier in a gated community. That's why you've seen those 70 to 75% price increase in townhouses. And the demand is just...
Because people are starting to see the value, people are starting to understand it, and they're also starting to paint a picture on what Dubai life looks like. I think a lot of people come here in the first few years, and you think, okay, you just get an apartment because that's the thing you do. Sometimes even if you've got kids and stuff like that. When realistically, you look back in Europe, obviously I always look back to the UK, and you think, no, not everyone lives in central London. Not everyone can afford to have the space, the size, and what they need and what they want in central London. So they get up at 5:30, 5 a.m. They get on the train, they go to central London, and because their salary would be doubled or their salary would be tripled unless they worked in the suburb where they live. And the same thing is going to start to happen with Dubai in terms of the expansion, the growth, and the maturity. It's just one of those things. It's a sacrifice that you have to make to be able to fit your budget or lifestyle or whatever it is. And like you say, people are starting to see and starting to appreciate the value that these townhouse communities offer, which is why the price per square foot is jumping and jumping and jumping. And if you want to be an investor, you bet your bottom dollar that the next influx of individuals that are coming here, they'll also start to see the value. And as they start to see the value, as more people start to see the value, that's where the value will increase. That's where the value will start to rise. Whether it's the valley or whether it's downtown.
Well, again, demand and availability. We're talking about townhouses with us buildings, right? In a building, we might have from 300 to like 700 apartments. If we put 15% of them on the listings, you have about, we're talking 150 plus minus apartments in one building. Imagine you have like 10, 15 complexes around you. Then you go to a townhouse community like Arabi Ranches 3. You have total, 2,500 townhouses, only 10 to 15% will be on the market for sale. That's your, 50 units, that's it. So the availability for those are way less. And of course, demand for them increasing year by year. So the players, like on the market, the sellers, they can actually play with the price a bit. They can increase it due to the high demand, and people are offering mortgages, high checks. You know, and again, talking about location, I had a client now from Manchester, and he's currently looking for a townhouse. We spoke about the Valley, again, Hemar new community on Alain Road. It's 22 minutes away from Business Bay. We spoke with him, said, it might be not the closest. He's like, listen, man, 22 minutes away. For me, it takes 1.5 hours back home to reach my job. 1.5 hours. Where today is 22 minutes here in Dubai. So the distances are not that huge and massive. We're talking about a way longer drive for some people in European countries or the UK, for example. So, I think Dubai is still making a really good job in terms of developing new master plans, new communities. Dubai South today. Look what's happening with the Expo. Amount of money they're putting, just for your knowledge. Burj Khalifa costed 10 billion dirhams, where Dubai Expo already costed 30 billion dirhams. People don't know, people don't talk about that. But Dubai Expo, for example, today will be hosting all the world trade shows. What they've done in the DAFC, they will be happening here now. From the 1st of Jan, all the shows like JITEX or Gulf Food
Thank
or anything
God for downtown
will be,
and the IFC.
will be happening in the Expo because they've created the infrastructure. They're building hotels now. The undercity under the Expo is just massive. It's like entire city there. So the Dubai government is always trying to develop those new locations, putting all the effort to develop those communities again, like MR. We have some other developers coming up there, but they're doing a really good job of relocating the offices because Sheikh Hamdan is putting his main head office in Dubai South. So he's taking away all the load in Business Bay and downtown.
And he's bringing that interest over there. Absolutely. And 2025 was a really stable, solid year of growth, especially when you look at it nowadays. Like you said, we started last year, circa 1,400 per square foot, finishing the year closer to sort of 2,000 dirhams per square foot. And every single time there's a launch, phase 1 is launched at X, phase 2 comes up, and it's launched at X plus 3%, X plus 4%, X plus 5%. And the demand is there. Don't get me wrong. When you look at those individual areas like JVC or which other areas you want to slate or badmouth or however you want to speak about them, they are their own mini markets within Dubai's huge ecosystem, and there's positives and negatives to take from everything. But I think, sort of like you mentioned a few days ago, more than ever, you just need to be advised and working with an agent that you trust and that you understand and know relates to you, your financial situation currently, and your financial goals moving forward. Because otherwise, if your plans do not coordinate in terms of keeping this unit forever and renting it or flipping it in 18 months, whatever it is, you can make some really good decisions in Dubai without really having to think about it and blinking. But you can make some really bad decisions without really thinking about it. And I think for me, especially in the resale market, the clients that I get for off-plan resale who are in the not so great situation are just the ones that didn't sit down with their agent and weren't clear. I want to buy this because of this, and I want to sell this at this point because. They're always the people that are left wanting more because they had an idea in their head of what they were going to do with it, but they never actually discussed it with their agent, or their agent wasn't bothered to have the conversation. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
So once again, 2025 was a great year for the new launches, right? We have so many new properties being sold. But again, it was a great year for all the new joiners. We have, 30 to 40,000 agents joined to real estate market in 2025. And of course, not all of them are brought up in the same way.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of hit and run. We have worked with multiple clients who bought the property from an agent who disappeared.
Yeah.
He's no longer in the market, or he blocked him, or he doesn't want to take care. You know, they promise all the big numbers, but then it never happened.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to actually understand the transparency. You know, you trust the firm, you trust the agent, you do your own research. It's quite easy today. We have a lot of tools like Property Monitor, DFB Interact, Property Finder. All the detailed prices are up there, and every single client have a free chance to go and have a look at the prices. What is actually happening there? You know, we don't trust anyone we see in the street, but we build this long-term relationship.
Yeah.
You know, so this is what I keep saying to my agents. Try to make sure that we sell the connection, we sell the network. We are here to assist with the property advisors, right? We can tell you if it's a good launch or it's a bad launch. I mean, everything will be good in 5-10 years if you think about long term because of the inflation, right? The 4 to 5% a year. So your prices will eventually go up, but there's some high demand and lower demand. So it depends again on your plan. Many agents don't listen to the clients today. They try to pitch any certain project for a higher commission whatsoever. But idea of the client is to make money. You need to assist him doing that, and you get all your referrals. So you need to be careful in Dubai in terms of what you're going to invest. Not because it will not grow, it will, but it will take a different time compared to the projects.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what also I like about coming into the Dubai market and been here for a few years now to see, I was about to say the ups and downs, only really been the ups in the last 3.5 years or so since I've been here. But from a resale point of view, as Dubai as a whole, we're looking at about a 14% growth year on year in terms of resale values, which I think is just nice. It's just nice. It's not a number that we're all going to sit here and dance and go crazy about, but I think it's nice in the sense that I think the more investors I've dealt with, UK or here, what they always say and what they always talk about is that market that just goes like that and is steady, whether it's slightly up or slightly down. That's the market for everyone. That's the market that everyone can get involved in. That's the market where real estate agents will make money. That's the market where investors will make money. That's the market where people can enter the market as well. Whereas when it's these vicious ups and downs that Dubai's had in the past, it's just a very, very scary market for absolutely everyone. The guy getting a mortgage, the guy that's got millions and millions put into the market. It's a scary market for everyone. So I think that's one of the real nice signs that I see from 2025, because it was a year where a lot of people were questioning all these handovers coming. Nothing's going to sell. Everyone's going to be launching at the same rate that they were launching at. The market's just going to be a bad year. Whereas in the grand scheme of things, when I look at a number of 14% growth year on year, resale transaction value, I think that's really nice and it's really good for Dubai in terms of the direction that we all want it to go in, which is just a stable, reliable market.
I think, look, 2025 was a really great, successful year. I mean, first of all, it's the record-breaking. As I told you, we're over 600 billion, and we haven't stopped yet. What I've seen so far in 2025, it was a big move in terms of new locations, right? We're knowing some certain areas which has been under high demand, but again, Dubai Island as a waterfront community has been growing a lot of new developers coming up there. The waterfront communities like Dubai Maritime City, Mina Rashid is a high popular, and the sales are happening there within days, not even months. So On the other side, I've seen that quite a lot of central areas has been unlocked. For example, we're talking about Maidan. We all know that Maidan was part of the Sheikh Mohammed ownership, and he never allowed anyone to build there. But today, you've seen more and more plots being released to be a freehold.
H&H, Nado Shiba.
H&H, Nado Shiba, the new launch. We have as well all the Miras townhouses and villas. We do have Ellington coming up with a project. So those central areas are being developed, and people want to invest there because they know it's a central Dubai, it's next to the palace, it's quite easy to get anywhere you want in Dubai. But again, all the new areas like Dubai South, Palm Jebel Ali, with the apartments coming up there, with all the new roads and infrastructure, the new Marina versus 2 coming up. So there will be a lot to invest in.
It's huge plans. When you actually look at the size of Dubai, look at what it's done. It's mega, it's ridiculous, just coming from the sand dunes to what it is now. But the next plans and the next steps are mega as well. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. What are your personal thoughts and feelings for 2026?
Well, I believe it will be a very stable year. We're talking about...
Do you think same again? In many ways?
I think people will be more choosy today, just because in 2026 there will be quite a lot of off-plan projects which will be handed over. So you have quite a high amount of units coming to the market. We're talking about apartments, townhouses. So there'll be definitely a mortgage here. Quite a lot of end users moving in, as we just discussed. A lot of end users are moving to Dubai. They're moving the businesses, they're moving the families. So they need a place to live. That's why 2026 will be a great place for resale opportunities. Off-plan, though, will be more saturated within those communities which are under high demand. Dubai South will be quite good. We're talking about the townhouses with all the new launches. Lane Road with all the new launches from Emaar. We're talking about Leo. So a lot of opportunities for the off-plan as well. Waterfront communities. I mean, we're expecting 2026 to be a big year for Palm Jebel Ali. Extra 12 launches to be planned there. So it will be definitely a great year.
Yeah, I think in terms of areas for the secondary, like handing over and things like that, we've seen Nado Shiba and Nado Shiba Gardens really just pop recently.
Yeah, they stand out.
And quite a few agents making some really good money there. Just because I think it's a bit of an area where they've understood the community that they're going at. I think it's captured the Arab community, but also like the Europeans, well, in terms of like locality to the IFC, all those sorts of things, but also just in terms of quality of finish, size, plots, and things like that. In terms of like community to watch, also, I'm not rewriting the book or anything here. It's been absolutely popping. It's a great part of the market, but it's a market where I can see a lot of agents shifting towards that sort of way and making some good money. And then exactly the same with Damat Lagoons as well. Obviously, it's been big on the resale market, but next year I think even more so as the handovers come. Again, you're seeing agents run over there because, all right, there's a lot of transactions, but it doesn't mean it's an easy market to get into. It's aggressive, but in terms of like the secondary market, I think there are 2 big areas that I would watch, and then with the predicted growth, I mean, personally for me, I would probably say it's going to be same again. I believe it's going to be business as usual for 2026. In 2025, we had early doors in the early part of the year, a few economic crises. We obviously had conflict right on our doorstep earlier in the year. And all it did was it made people believe in Dubai more and more.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest thing that you're seeing it ride these potential waves that should rock the market. It's just more and more stable every year. So I think it can only give people moving to the country or people potentially investing in the city, more and more confidence.
Well, what I do like about the off-plan as well, since all the projects which have been released now, most of the handovers will be in 28, 29. Right? We'll move into 2030, some of the big projects. So the good thing about the waves in Dubai, right? So we had a lot of sales in 22, 23, where the projects are handed over now 26. So you will pass the way with all the off-plan investment now. You're going to expect a high demand in 28, 29, where the new wave is coming. Dubai is still working towards the goal 10 million people, right? Where what now? We crossed the 5 million. So we have 4 years to go now, 2026 almost, and I believe Dubai is doing everything possible for that, with the new golden visa opportunity, with the new schools, with the new jobs coming up here, new businesses. Etihad Rail as well, we forgot to mention. Look, the expansion of the Etihad Rail will be connected to not only all Emirates, but all the GCC countries. We have Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, all the way to Jordan. So the expansion of the rail network system will help us to move across the GCC for the jobs, for the opportunity, for the meetings. Dubai is only growing.
Everywhere's getting closer.
Absolutely.
A hot take for 2026. A hot, controversial take.
You need to understand what are you going to take from this market. don't invest with a short-term mindset. Like there are some flippers around who still do well.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think you can easily resell the property within 6 months as it used to be before.
Yeah.
This kind of a market stabilizes itself. So if you invest in Dubai, think about the end user. Who will buy it off you? If it's an investor for short-term holiday home, whatever, or it's a family with a mortgage plan, depending on the opportunity, you need to choose wisely what is the cash flow you have.
Yeah.
Because we see different distress on the market. You know, somebody been offered a great opportunity to invest, but he doesn't have enough cash flow and he's flipping the property below OP because he didn't do the proper calculation. So that's why a good property advisor can assist you. He will listen to your need and he will guide you what is the best option for your money.
Yeah, and a lot of the investors, like long-term investors that I deal with at the minute, they're not buying, I mean, for me, they're not buying off-plan at the minute. They're not, because they're saying that off-plan prices now are just too much off-plan prices. So everyone's asking me for the OP deals because there are, what we are seeing in the market, although it's stable, although we do have growth, we are starting to see a couple of people or a few people, a little group of people over leveraging themselves a little bit. And I think all agents will say that's exactly what they've seen in the market in the back half of the year of 2025. And the investors know that. So they're looking at getting in the off-plan resale. George, get me something that was bought a year ago. I'll pay the same price that they paid. Let me take it off their hands. And I know that's a safe, solid investment. Again,
resale market is really great if you have cash available on hand.
Yeah.
However, if you start, for example, investing into the property and you don't have the full 50% or 70% to take it as a distressed deal, you still go with your 10% investment. As I just said, townhouses by H&H, right? 10% down payment, easy payment plan, 50 payment plan, 10% in 9 months. Amazing price per square foot. There's nothing else where you can invest in for the same criteria. So
what's not to like, H&H?
Yeah. It's one of the best projects in Dubai. So I believe there are certain opportunities in off-plan which really brings up a good amount of money on the resale. But you need to be realistic in terms of what you can afford and what your plan is.
Yeah. Like I say, a lot of people over leveraging themselves in terms of, not necessarily by design, but potentially just by, you know, over-egging it a little bit. But I think it is a little bit of a Dubai thing. You know, when I first came to Dubai, I just couldn't believe it. You know, I think my very first buyer he had his pre-approval. We got him to final offer letter. And then I remember the mortgage advisor saying, brilliant, you know, is that final offer letter? He'll go and get the loan now for the down payment. And you're like, what do you mean he'll go and get the loan for the down payment? It's just crazy. But I think it's a little bit of a culture thing. And that's just how it is. So it'd be interesting to see how the market progresses in 2026. I'd say my controversial opinion will probably be, don't listen to Bloomberg. It's not all going to go pop. It's probably going to be business as usual. We'll go into 2026 with real solid, steady growth. And I think just a market that everyone can believe in and everyone can be confident in. Just make the right decisions, pick a good real estate agent that understands you, your needs, your wants.
And gives you the best of the market. Look on the launches now. In December, we had one of the best launches through the year. And they're going to continue through January, February. So we're opening a year really strong. And I'm sure for the first quarter of 2026, there'll be record-breaking hit again.
It's exciting. Exciting
stuff.
Happy days. Thank you for being with us, tuning in 2025 into Deal Corner. Like I said, this is the last episode of the year. So thank you for joining us, Andrii. Thank you for joining us, guys. And please, any controversial, any hot takes that you guys have got, give us a comment, give us a like, all those sorts of things.
To answer all the questions indeed.
Happy days. Thank you, Andrii.
Thank you, George.
All the best, mate. Happy New Year.
Cheers, man.